So people are coming for your home. And now we are hearing that social media influencers, specifically on TikTok, are giving people instructions on how to get into your home and claim squatters' rights. So that is happening right now. As we speak, we are seeing this happen all over the country. Now, that is tragic alone, but according to many people, they are saying this entire thing is going to end in tragedy, mainly because of what just happened the other day, where more than 100 migrants stormed the U.S. southern border and actually ambushed National Guard troops right there at the border, knocking some down. Well, this is calling for action, and I'll explain exactly what is happening because, according to reports, this is going to be a tragedy here in the United States. I'll explain why in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So just the other day, we saw a video. This was first published. It was first published on the New York Post, on Wall Street Journal, Washington Post picked it up. Many different media outlets picked this up, but I also played it here on the channel as well. I want to play it for you again and explain what's happening, but also explain why the American people are so concerned about this specific situation. Just look at this and then we'll talk about it. We're about to see this on a daily basis here in the United States. They're rushing the border. That is what we're going to face. According to experts, they say this happens on a smaller scale. This was probably one of the very first times that we've seen more than 100 people ambush National Guard troops right there on the U.S. southern border. But here's the questions they're bringing up. What happens when migrants do this to civilians? Not to National Guard troops who are trained. You saw in that video, there were troops there that were holding rifles. And yet they actually showed composure, calmness, and they did not fire. But we are now getting questions. They say, what would happen if you do this to civilians? Would civilians be okay with being pushed down and not retaliate? Let me ask you this. If you are standing there at the border or you're standing there at your property and a group of migrants comes rushing your door, rushing through your house, are you just going to stand there, let them knock you down and do whatever they want? Probably not. You'll probably fight back. But in the state of Texas, where the majority of Texans have a gun, do you think they're just going to let you rush into their house? Probably not. Probably not. They say, would citizens be okay with giving up their personal property? I can tell you right now, most people are not. Most people are going to fight for what they have earned, what they have worked so hard for. Their property, their house, their cars, the safety of their family, their children. That's what they're going to work for. This is why experts believe this is going to end in tragedy. Because I can tell you right now, if a civilian is standing there holding a weapon and you see 10 or 100 people rush you, chances are somebody is going to open fire. And that's going to be the problem. But here's where things actually go from bad to worse. Look at this. So a TikToker is telling illegal immigrants how to invade American homes and invoke squatters' rights. What's crazy about this is this person has over 500,000 followers on TikTok. And the video that he's, and I'll kind of show you this, but here's a video, I'm not going to play it. But you can see right here, just when this article was written by the New York Post, this video had more than 3.9 million views. And he says that his African friends have already taken about 7 homes. Think about this for a second. Because what he is saying is that you can invoke squatters' rights if that home is inhabited? There's nobody there. But what if somebody goes on vacation? Because we're coming up to spring and summer months where more people decide to go on vacation. What happens then? Is that still considered inhabited? If you come home from your 2-week-long cruise or your trip to the Bahamas or Mexico, and now you see there's people living in my home, wouldn't you be concerned? Wouldn't you fight to get your home back? Well, that's exactly what somebody did in New York. And guess what? She was arrested. Police officers arrested her because she was trying to change the locks on her home that squatters were now in, because they had squatters' rights. This is where some say this is going to be more than just a bad day. This is going to be a tragedy. Now, I want to show you this, because the Border Patrol chief, he's suggesting jail time and tougher consequences to stop illegal U.S.-Mexico border crossings. So the Border Patrol chief is now asking for tougher consequences. Guess what? The Biden administration is not going to go for this. This is not something that they're willing to do. They will not even consider it. You know why? Because there's an election on November 5th. If it wasn't for that election, according to reports, Democrats would have already done something. But because they are so concerned about President Biden getting reelected, as of right now, almost every single poll that I've seen shows President Trump, former President Donald Trump, winning the upcoming election. So, Democrats say they cannot give Republicans a win. Now, this is where things are going to go from bad to worse. As we get closer to the upcoming election on November 5th, according to reports, they say they're already seeing a surge in people trying to enter the United States for 2 reasons. Number one, there's a law that's still being questioned in Texas, where a Texas law enforcement could actually arrest and deport people that come into their state or really the country illegally, as long as they have proof. Second reason, we are going to see a change of the president most likely. If this happens, and this is what most people are expecting in other countries, we are going to see the United States border really get locked down. We're going to see more security. As this happens, more people are trying to enter the United States before we have a potential change in leadership. So again, keep in mind, those 2 things are the reason why we are about to see a surge. And I'll throw in a third one, the weather. As we get into warmer months, both in Mexico and here in the United States, more people are trying to enter the U.S. And they're going to do that between ports. This is going to happen. They're going to cut through the razor wire. They're going to swim across the Rio Grande. They're going to do whatever they can to get through over in San Diego and that area. We're going to see this. That's the expectation. But here's one thing I want to leave you with. When we see this happen, the one thing that you need to do is protect yourself. Make sure that you are ready. Get ready because, again, they're coming for your home. They're already being instructed as to, okay, if you do not find shelter and you are technically homeless, okay? The reason why I say homeless is because, again, you don't have a specific home, but could you go and get one? Could you, and this is the troubling part, all those people that are saying that, hey, I have a home for rent, have an apartment for rent, guess what? You are pretty much advertising your address. You're advertising to people that my home is vacant. Come on in, kick the door in, and just move on in. That's pretty much what you're advertising. And that's part of the problem. So again, one thing that you need to understand is they're coming for your home. If they're not in your home, they may be in the home next door. They may be your neighbor. And guess what? They're not paying rent. They are not paying rent. So that's the other problem is as more people start moving in and invoking squatters' rights, the landlord is actually now going to be screwed because how are they supposed to continue to make a payment on a home that they do not have anybody paying rent for? What happens then? All I can tell you is, again, like experts are saying, this is going to end in tragedy. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you is I will be here every step of the way. I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.